Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about where League of Legends needs to change if it wants to survive and continue on as the premier MOBA in esports and in the gaming industry. This is not an announcement of me quitting or taking a break, but there are some big things that we do need to address with the entire ecosystem. If y'all enjoy the video and want to get better at League of Legends, then consider subscribing. I first started playing this game in November of 2013, right after Faker won his first world championship. I started playing ranked seriously the next season in season 4 and was bouncing around, mid to high silver. And then I hit diamond for the first time in season 6, and I've been high elo ever since. But around season 6 and 7, I noticed the game take a downhill turn. And this could have been because the seasons were basically running together at this point and there was some less motivation to get high elo. And this is really when the toxic trends really started for the game, or at least got worse. And I think the way that I want to talk about this and break it up is that there are 3 primary issues, and then at the end of this video, I'll give my personal solutions that might actually work when it comes to addressing them. But if I'm proposing a problem, then I want to make sure to actually give a solution, even if it's not going to be a viable one. I don't want to just complain. So, as a disclaimer, I will also be referencing Valorant a lot in this video, because although that game has its own set of problems, it does a couple of things very, very well, and it's been a ton of fun for me and my friends to play. And because it was also made by Riot, these solutions are actually viable because they have worked in another one of their competitive games that they've built recently. The first issue is that League is too snowbally. Every game, my bot lanes are racing to see if they can go 0-10 faster than my last bot lane. And although I try my best to punish the mistakes of my opponents and salvage as much as possible in the game, sometimes it just feels like a lost cause. A couple of days ago, I posted this picture to my community tab just showing 2 games where I had massive leads and ended up losing. And you might be thinking that I had a decent amount of deaths leading to our loss, and you're right, I did. But the other team was eons ahead of us because my teammates turbo inted their lane and I didn't even get a shot at carrying. I was just trying my best to keep us in the game, and they all pretty much gave up, but we'll talk about that part in a second. Part of being good at League of Legends is about learning how to play from behind and just stop the bleeding. This game should be snowbally. It's a MOBA, but it feels too snowbally almost. And it inhibits being able to carry based on skill because your teammates just give the enemy everything they want, and it gives them a massive advantage regardless of how good they actually are. You should have to work to keep your lead, not just have it handed to you if you get a kill or 2. And I have a couple of suggestions in order to make this better when we get there at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. In Valorant, yes, it is a different genre, and League should not be identical to that game, but in that game, every round you have an equal shot at winning, even if your teammates died early. You still have a shot at solo carrying. In League, we just don't have that. If the other team gets far enough ahead, even if you had nothing to do with it, and you might even have a decent sized lead yourself, you still get steamrolled. And maybe I'm just bad, but it's an observation I've had. The second issue I've seen is that toxicity is just the norm in this game. How many times do we see the cliche Chad players say, GG, go next, or it's over, go next, or any other form of phrase saying that they've given up and you should just FF and go to the next one. And not just giving up, but pissing off the rest of their team in the meantime. Like, dude, I'm here, I'm playing because I'm trying to win, and I'm not even mad that you got killed by that gank. We'll get it back during the dragon fight. Just freeze bot after they take the tower and we can get back in this. I try to go into every game to win it regardless of how well we do. And I'll fight to the last bit of HP my Nexus has, but everybody seems to give up before then. This is a competitive game, and Riot has added plenty of things to help teams who are behind come back. Like the blast cones in your jungle. Those are for you so that you can get away from invades easier. They also added the Scryer's Bloom to help you clear out vision in your own jungle to maintain a shred of control. They even give you extra gold for kills on the most fed enemy teammates called bounties. Riot has made these changes specifically because of my point number 1, but people still give up so easily, and rarely do I see people get punished for this. And I think they should, because it ruins the competitive integrity of ranked. And when people don't feel like playing, they end up just AFKing in the base or walking around the map aimlessly, starting at around minute 10, waiting for the instant FF call at 15 minutes. And on top of people just flat out not trying, this game is super toxic. That's not new news by any means, but this game has a reputation for people just saying the most heinous insults that 2 human beings just wouldn't say to each other. I've had to turn off chat in my games because 90% of it is flame and only 10% strategy. I get the same amount of information from pings, and it also allows me not to be toxic when I'm heated because I'll type something out and it won't go through, and I'm usually thankful that it doesn't. In League, it's just 2 champions yelling at each other, or more if it's the whole team or all chat. It's not 2 people talking. So I have a pretty interesting idea on how to fix this, but it could also go horribly wrong. But like I said, we'll talk about that at the end of the video. The goal is to increase the amount of human interaction so that people act like people and not barbarians. The third thing that needs to be fixed in this game is LP loss plus lost time is just a major tilter. When you play a 30-minute game of League just to get flamed and lose ranked, it just feels like a giant waste of time and you feel like trash when you walk away. Something that Valorant has that League doesn't is LP gain and loss differential based on performance. I think you can gain anywhere between like 10 and 50 rating and lose between 10 and 30. The first upside is just to help push Smurfs out of low elo and into more of a rating they should be in. And after playing many ranked games in Valorant and reaching Diamond, I really like this system. Even though you gain less if you don't do well and win, it feels a lot better. I'm just glad to have been there when my team won, and I'm cool with getting plus 17 or plus 18 instead of plus 25 or plus 30. Because when I lose and lose bad, I know I deserve to lose a lot, but when it's close and I'm hard carrying, I know that I'll end up getting more the next game if I do well again, so it'll just be a net positive gain even though I won one and lost one. In League, you would just end up at 0, or depending on your MMR, maybe a little bit above or a little bit of both, but it has nothing to do with your personal performance. I'll talk about some of the issues of implementing this in just a moment, but that's kind of a brief overview. The main reason that losing like this feels so bad as well is because you know that even though you went 15-5 and those 5 deaths came at the end when the team was just turbo fed, you'll still lose or gain the same amount if you do just as well the next game. I will recognize the flip side though, that even if you try and carry but lose, you'll still gain the same if you feed and win. I've had plenty of those games, but the issue is that it doesn't feel good. It's an emotional aspect. I can forget about a win I didn't deserve, but if I'm trying my best to win and lose, then it feels twice as bad. Because I don't want to bank on feeding and having my team carry me. That's not a healthy way of looking at this game. It might happen, and that's nice, but it feels awful when you add up, say, 50 to 100 games of this happening over a season. All right, time to talk about some solutions. The ways to fix League of Legends. Number 1. In order to make the game less snowbally, here's what I propose. That they reduce the amount of gold that the first tower and first blood give and just kind of bring them back to their normal value and make kills on enemies worth 200 gold instead of 300 gold. They can still keep the same fluctuations for bounties or if someone is just 0 and 10, but I think decreasing the flat value would help. Keep the bounty system because it rewards safe and strategic play while ahead. You're earning your lead. You have to continue to keep it and defend it as the game goes on. And this is important because it forces players who are ahead to play safer and smarter instead of just throwing their champions against the other team, hoping to just win based on their strength. And if it isn't enough, I think that they should reduce the XP gained from a kill by like 30%. Not sure what the total value is, but when you get a kill, you already get like a free wave or two. So the XP you get is way more than just what you get from the kill. So just something to keep in mind. And the goal of these changes is to purely make it harder to get ahead from just steamrolling over the other team after a kill or two. It also puts more emphasis on farming and wave control, which I would argue shows more skill. And this will allow that skill to be shown in order to gain a substantial lead. And plus, it will have other unforeseen benefits. It'll promote better macro play with split pushing and jungle farming, and also give a team a shot at contesting important neutral objectives later in the game, like Scuttle Crabs, Dragon, and Baron. In order to fix toxicity, I propose this. One of the main reasons why toxicity is so prevalent in League is because all we have is the in-game chat with random Xbox gamer tags, so when you flame, it doesn't feel real. So people throw out heinous insults that are just horrible. And if you say that I have thin skin, then so be it. But you can't argue the reason why this toxicity occurs. People don't talk like that to other human beings. It might still be there, but much more tame levels of flame and toxicity. And in other competitive games like Valorant, they have voice chat. And it obviously is still toxic, but I find that if you are decent in voice chat, you appear as a human with a background, family, and emotions, and not some robotic champion. Even a little case study in Valorant will show that teammates who don't use voice chat get flamed way more than if they were talking and making callouts. This is true with me. I'm guilty of being more toxic to players who don't have a mic. Anyone with a conscience doesn't want to horribly hurt the feelings of another person, and in League, you aren't talking to a real person. You're typing to your feeding top laner who is losing you precious LP with a crazy weird name. So I propose that League does one of two things to fix this problem. One, they add voice chat. And I know they've probably talked about this over the past 10 years and they've decided not to, but it would be a helpful, useful element in the game. And overall, I guarantee that comms would be more productive and less toxic. You're welcome, Riot. I fixed your toxicity problem. Just PayPal me. But even more if they added this to the client and champ select, how more strategic can this game get with team compositions, level 1 invades, level 3 5-man plays? It would be super exciting to see the way solo queue evolves if this gets added. But if they don't do this, I think that they should get rid of chat and force people to just use pings. When someone is is toxic, what do they want? They want a response, a reaction. And if they can't get that, they will inevitably be less toxic because they're just not going to get that reaction. Now, the in-game chat probably serves a lot of positive uses, I recognize that, but I think that it won't be missed as much as people think. If you want to time a flash, just ping it. If you want to group around Dragon, then ping it. People would get used to it and it'd be super beneficial for the community. Okay, the third solution to fix this game, LP loss and wasted time. So fixing this one is a little bit harder than the other two, mainly because MOBAs are inherently more complicated than competitive shooters. Even Valorant places emphasis on which kill you get in the round and how much utility your abilities offer your team. It will be much harder to tell in League of Legends, but Riot is smart, and I'm sure over the course of 18 months they could beta test different options and to at least help players lose less LP if they played great and lost. Even if the LP gains would be the same over a long period of time, I think that the emotional aspect of this change would have an astronomical effect on the entire League ecosystem and revitalize the game in a way that we have never seen before. There are a ton of different champions, playstyles, and a myriad of other metrics to be figured out, but some sort of system to mitigate LP losses after trying your heart out would be a great addition. Even if I get absolutely carried to a win, I'll be happy to walk away with my 10 or 15 LP, knowing that I can do better next time and potentially get 25 or 30. I hope someone at Riot sees this, or maybe y'all can share this video with your friends or in Discords to see what they think of the solutions and fixes that I proposed. Because League is an ever-evolving game, and we can continue to improve it so that we can have higher and higher quality games. I will acknowledge though that Riot has done an amazing job of fixing this game in the past and upgrading it in a way to make it more enjoyable and more worthwhile playing. So props to you, Riot, you've done a good job. Just think about these changes and let me know what you think. And as always guys, it's been Snowta. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.